name's David. Personality, I suppose, it's a hard question. Yeah, can you edit this out? Personality wise, I'm very optimistic, set high standards, set tough goals for myself, and like to just go for it. The athletic career goes back a long while. Actually, it started off playing rugby as a rugby player, played for Buller way back in the late 1960s, early 1970s. Then went to Invercargill and got involved down there because of the weather and squash, and I've played squash ever since at competitive levels right throughout New Zealand, but also back in the 1980s I lived in Gore for a while and just got into running because I used to do a bit of running just to get fit for squash, and running there, and I started running half marathons, and so I did that. When I shifted to Christchurch I kind of give that up, work and family took over, but then just later I started to come back and get into running again. When I got back into running, I was going out running around the streets by myself, and it's pretty lonely, and the motivation sometimes wanes a wee bit, and I was finding it tough. I got to a point where I couldn't get any faster. I seemed to reach a peak, and it wasn't where I wanted to be. So I went searching on the internet to look for training programs, and then come across the RaceTeam there, looking at it, and having coaches, having other people doing it, and whatnot. I thought that was a great idea. Yeah, I did have fears. One of the things that I had in there was, hey, what's it going to be like? How being reasonably competitive was, how am I going to compete with all these people? And my expectation was they're all going to be top-notch athletes and whatnot, but it isn't. It's a whole mix from people that are virtually haven't run before hardly, right through to people who are highly competitive. So it doesn't matter what you do, you fit in somewhere. Yeah, the social side of it is really, really good. It gives you almost an incentive to turn up all the time, to hear what other people are doing, what they do, not only in running but in other bits, because you form some pretty close friendships as you're doing the race team. And part of it's the running, but certainly a big part of it's the social aspect of it as well. The competitiveness is kind of built in terms of the training that you do, whether it's the track sessions, out on a Saturday doing the longer runs. There's certainly heaps of competitive aspects about it, and you can build a lot of that into yourself as well. And I had different people that it was about going out and thinking, well, they're not going to beat me today. But sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't, but it just gives you that extra incentive to go that extra bit that you wouldn't go to if you're doing it by yourself. The coaches are really, really great in it, because as you were doing your training, they were constantly there giving you advice, and it might have only been the little things on, stand up straighter, put your shoulders back, put your hips forward, put your arms in the right place, but it's just that constant reminder which helped you with your technique and just kept you right on track. And also when you were doing our track sessions, it was just driving it to those levels that you wouldn't be driven to if you're doing it yourself. And it was without effort, but probably with a wee bit of pain. Yeah, it did. Delivered on it and some more. It had all different people of different standards, and if you're having a bad day, there was always people to run with. If you're having a really, really good day, there was always people who tested you, and also with the coaching. You always got encouragement, always got advice and little tips, and one of the things I found within about the first 2 weeks, I'd taken about 15 seconds off per K, just in terms of technique change, and that worked really, really well. Yeah, I would recommend what you're doing. There's a bit about your self-improvement, and it's in the running, but it also goes into other parts of your life. There's the social side of it, meeting other people, getting involved in things you wouldn't normally be in, people you wouldn't normally be involved with. and also just your self-improvement in terms of getting the training, getting the competition and those sorts of things that just lift you to a level that you wouldn't achieve if I wasn't in the race team. I'd say go for it. Yeah, give it a go, and I think you'll be really surprised at the outcome.